Hello everyone, good morning or good afternoon. My name is Ted Hulsey. I'm Vice President of Marketing at eFolder and your host and moderator for today's special event. Yesterday, eFolder announced the acquisition of Replibit. On today's special partner briefing, we will share key details about the deal and what it means for you, our partners. Today I'm joined by eFolder CEO Kevin Hoffman and Replibit co-founder and CEO Andrew Benzinger. Before we go through today's agenda, let's first cover a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar, along with the slides, will be made available to those who registered for the event. The recording will also be featured on eFolder's YouTube channel. With over 318 people registered for today's session, we've put all participants in listen-only mode. You can enjoy the audio portion for today's event either by streaming it on your computer or by dialing in over the phone. Your questions are strongly encouraged throughout. We have planned two special Q&A sections, but you may submit your questions as we go along, and we will try to address your questions on the fly. Let's look at today's agenda. Okay, let me quickly review the agenda. First, we'll provide a bit of background information on each company. Next, we will review the logic and details behind the acquisition. Then we will review what the deal means for you, our partners. We will pause at this point to do a thorough Q&A and to make sure that existing partners, either for eFolder or Replibit, have all your questions answered. And we will wrap up with some product highlights on the Replibit solution for those MSPs who may be completely new to Replibit. So with that, let me turn it over to Kevin Hoffman, eFolder CEO.
Great, yeah, thanks, Ted. We're excited to be here. So, yeah, we've also got Andy Benzinger with me as well. And so, yeah, we're excited to share the story of our combined companies and what this means for partners. So first, a little bit about eFolder. We've been in business more than 10 years, channel focused from the very beginning, and we've grown out of our roots over the years to become a company with about 200 collective team members now, about 3,000 total channel partners, serving about 50,000 end-user customers through our channel. And we're 100% channel focused, so eFolder serves our channel partners on a wholesale basis where our channel partners rebrand our services and take them, at their own chosen price points and brand to their end-user clients, where eFolder is providing the technology and the service behind the scenes to help our MSP partners be successful. And we offer everything from file-level backup to BDR and business continuity to file sync and collaboration, and then cloud-to-cloud backup for data protection of things such as Office 365. So our theme at eFolder is about protecting business productivity with these three themes and focuses to help MSPs navigate the changing IT landscape as SMBs evolve and move part of their IT to the cloud. And so we're providing solutions against this long-term vision of protecting business productivity in the areas of data protection, making sure there is never any data lost under any circumstance and the data is available and accessible and usable, both in the format of regular files, wherever they may be on mobile endpoints or in SaaS applications like Office 365. We have a full-on suite of business continuity solutions to provide near real-time business continuity for environments of all sizes and shapes, and then enabling the productive mobile worker, bring your own device, and all of the complexity that entails for SMBs who need to remain productive while in the office and while on the road, while retaining that security, control, and visibility that we bring through the Anchor platform. So yeah, Andy is with me as well, and we're excited to have him share his story and why he chose to join the company.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. For those of you not familiar with myself or Replibit, here's a just brief history on where we originated from. Initially, we came out of the MSP space. Our background was as MSP service providers, and we faced the same challenges that all of you have, which is how do you provide business continuity at an affordable price. Back in 2006, there was really not an effective mechanism to do that. We had all the challenges associated with file level backups and and tape backup. I was fortunate enough to come up with a concept of nearline business continuity where we could take some of the principles associated with high availability solutions or business continuity solutions and get them down to a multi-tenanted price point that made it affordable and practical for the small to medium enterprise in the MSP space. When we did that, we were able to garner several patents around it and some intellectual property, and we spent the next several years sharing our knowledge through contractual relationships with different vendors out there and assisted in the release of the concept of the BDR into our market space. After doing that for several years, we took the lessons learned there and looked at some of the challenges that were faced with those concepts and tried to come up with a solution that solved the issues that were created with these new concepts of nearline business continuity, and that was really the impetus of Replibit. Replibit was sole purpose was to enhance the concepts out there in the current BDR products and eliminate some of the challenges that we faced on scale when rolling out these types of solutions. About a year ago, we initiated a relationship with eFolder. It has been very, very successful. There were a lot of synergies between our companies, and it just seemed a natural fit to join the eFolder family.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to work with Andy, and his experience and passion for MSPs really comes through in the product that he's built and the things that MSPs have to say who are using Replibit today. So yeah, the DRaaS market continues to eat the backups market lunch. You know, legacy backup is dead, and you know, just offerings that are image-based backup, providing near real-time backups, and then replicating that to the cloud. That is the future most clearly, and so this market is just a huge opportunity for MSPs to provide high-value services to your clients. And there's many players in the market, and we're excited to help MSPs capture the potential of this market that continues to grow. So with the combination of eFolder's BDR service plus Replibit, eFolder owns 100% of the software intellectual property required to deliver a BDR service offering, which involves the near real-time server and desktop imaging locally with snapshots as often as every 15 minutes, having fast, near instant virtualization of any point-in-time backup, granular recovery options, whether that's file level recovery or volume or VM level recovery, and then backing and replicating that to the eFolder cloud or to the partner's own cloud if you so prefer to private vault to yourself. Having a full-on virtual private cloud environment that the MSP can control that we call our continuity cloud, allowing MSPs to virtualize their customers' full environments if they have an all-site disaster like a fire, etc., and making it just turnkey easy for a channel partner.
So about 4 years ago, when we were starting to put Replibit together, we took a hard look at what was going on within the BDR industry and came to the conclusion that there were three main problems that a lot of our MSP partners were facing. So from the ground up, the design of Replibit was created to mitigate these three issues, the first being a cobbled together solution. We didn't want the use of multiple product lines all put together on an individual device that didn't necessarily work in a coherent fashion. So Replibit was built from the ground up as a purpose-built single solution to solve that need without mix and match of different softwares. It is 100% designed and written from the ground up to solve that purpose. The second challenge that we saw out there was chain-based solutions can prove difficult on scale. There's a tendency for bad things to happen, and we want to mitigate that as a scenario. So when we were designing our backup agent, we figured out a methodology that would 100% eliminate chains. There is no concept of daily roll-ups, synthetics, doesn't matter what you call it, whether it's a forward incremental, reverse incremental. Those concepts don't exist in our world and significantly can reduce brain damage associated with those items. And then the third thing we saw was a lot of the vendors out there were trying to dictate the particular business model that you were running, and you had to use their cloud. So we wanted an open solution that would allow our partners to have a private cloud offering, and if it fit their business model, they would have the option to send data back to their own facilities to warehouse that data in case of a complete loss of a customer location.
So just as a sort of a matter of emphasis, one thing that we found really interesting about Andy's technology was this agent. So it's actually an agent that does not install a device driver on the system, and instead relies on the normal snapshotting mechanisms built in the operating system, and then is able to take a difference, a very smart difference between 2 point-in-time versions of a file system to understand precisely those changes between any 2 points that may exist. And so, when we say that there is no chain in the solution, it's because that there is no dependency from one backup to the next. There's 2 arbitrary points in time of a volume, and it's able to calculate the differences between those in a very unique fashion, which has led to the patent technology and Replibit and the unique advantages that the offering has. And so we've found that partners enjoy the flexibility that comes from the chain-free backup technology inside of Replibit. So in the synergies between the two companies, eFolder has a long reputation of being passionate and dedicated to helping MSP partners succeed. We've reached a level of scale where we have sufficient resources to be a long-term partner for our channel partners. 200 team members backing these solutions, driving innovation, and helping partners succeed. We have tremendous cloud capabilities with over 30 petabytes in our cloud operations across 4 data centers globally. And we just have operational maturity in many of the areas that Replibit had yet to build that are, we can immediately plug in and help Replibit in these areas. So on the Replibit side, they built some very unique IP from the ground up. Like we've mentioned, the chain-free backups, and then also the ability to instantly virtualize any point in time and do automated screenshot verification of these backups on a daily basis, in addition to file system integrity verification of every backup that's ever taken, to make it easy to prove to your customers that, yes, I can instantly boot in an emergency, and the file system integrity structure of my backups are good, so that you know that both your data is good and you can use it quickly as needed. The private cloud option is fairly unique. The turnkey easiness to run a multi-tenant cloud using Replibit for partners who have large infrastructure investments has been very attractive to many of Replibit's partners. And the patent portfolio is coming along with the acquisition, along with the entire Replibit team. Andy and just the entire rest of the Replibit team are joining eFolder on a long-term basis. So the combination of these two companies produces something that we feel is compelling for MSPs as a new and interesting option for business continuity in the market, and allows us to deliver innovation rapidly to the channel, which will be unveiling shortly some of our first product innovations that we've been able to accomplish together. So the Replibit solution really serves MSPs with 2 different business models, or contextual situations. So you've got growing MSPs who have up to 200 servers, protected endpoints, and these MSPs typically leverage the eFolder cloud for the back end. And it's a very turnkey, simple, easy-to-use service where you deploy Replibit locally and the cloud scales as large as you need to grow. On the other hand, we've also had success with larger MSPs who have several hundred to several thousand endpoints protected, who have large infrastructure investments, 10 or 100 terabyte plus investments that they'd like to leverage to operate their own DR as a service cloud, which Replibit is enabling today. And so eFolder is very happy to support both of these business models. A key part of our philosophy is flexibility and not dictating business models to our partners, and so we plan to fully continue and invest in both of these directions as Replibit continues under the eFolder family. So during our diligence, in the acquisition and over the past year in our commercial partnership, we asked Replibit partners, what do you like the most about the Replibit solution? And these are some of the points that we heard, that they like how it's an integrated offering with the cloud-based, web-based management interface. They like the fact that they can vault to themselves, the chain-free technology, which we've described a little bit, the ability to choose their own hardware. So any Linux-compatible, Ubuntu 12-compatible hardware, and that's a long list, can be used with the Replibit offering. And the automated integrity checking and DR testing, a deep ConnectWise integration, and just the combined value that they're getting for their price. These are the compelling aspects that we've heard so far. So where do we go from here, and what does this mean for partners? So it's business as usual. We're not making any dramatic changes. There's no changes to pricing or billing. All of these things continue, but we are immediately we have integrated the support team. So the eFolder support team is more than doubling the size of the Replibit support team. And we've also immediately hired several additional support engineers who are joining the Replibit support team, so that Replibit partners can now expect phone support to be available. And eFolder is just more committed than ever to providing an exceptional support experience, and this is an area where we can provide immediate investments and help Replibit deal with the rapid demand that they're experiencing. And then just additional resources and applied into research and development, expanding the development team, and our existing dev teams and how they collaborate with certain things like PSA integrations, etc. We can all bring these resources to bear to jointly make the product and the experience better for partners. And for eFolder partners who have been buying Replibit through our eFolder BDR for Replibit solution, there is no change in how you're buying it, the billing model, your account manager. These all remain the same. So for new partners interested today, they'll all go through the eFolder sales process. And so you're welcome to request a demo and get a free trial today if that's something that's interesting for you. And then in terms of what's changing, so we're changing the product offering to be renamed from eFolder BDR for Replibit to simply eFolder Replibit. Which matches the naming conventions of other offerings that we have, like eFolder Anchor or eFolder Cloud Finder. Critically important, we are continuing to serve and are dedicated long-term to our ecosystem strategy on BDR. So we have 5 flavors of BDR services. We've got BDR for Shadow Protect, BDR for Veeam, BDR for Cronus, and BDR for Aperture, aka Dell Rapid Recovery. So we have many thousands of partners on these BDR solutions with our technology partners, and we're committed to having a very positive relationship and building the best cloud DR solution around these very popular brands for image-based backup in the channel. So these other 4 offerings are exceptional image-based backup solutions that have many loyal partners, and we plan to continue to support, develop, enhance, sell, drive demand for all of these flavors of BDR. Again, it goes back to our business model of flexibility. For those MSPs, we don't want to tell you what's best for your business, and each of these different flavors has unique advantages for your clients that many of you have found to be the case. And so we are committed to allowing you to choose the best technology that you feel is best for your business. and we provide you lots of options so you can make the most informed choices. And so we're just excited to be in this position where we can help partners meet the needs of any client, from the smallest of the small up to the large, very highly virtualized environment with dozens of virtual hosts and everything in between. So eFolder continues to be this neutral Switzerland of BDR in the way that we think about, which BDR solutions we'll be offering and how we approach channel partners in helping them understand and decide, which of these solutions will be best for me and my clients. So we do have some very exciting news coming relating to this acquisition, some innovation that Andy and myself and our dev teams have been working on jointly for announcement June 13th. So sign up now. This link is live, go.efolder.net/big-news for just some game-changing announcements that we think will be very, very interesting to consider, and we're super excited to share. So, before we go to Q&A, just, Andy, any other thoughts or things that I missed? So far.
No, we're just really excited to be part of the eFolder family now. I think it's fantastic that not only do we have the Replibit solution to offer, but we now have a full ecosystem where we can easily refer out better, technologies that may fit the need of a partner better for a particular instance. We're fully committed to expanding Replibit and innovating with Replibit, but it's nice to know that we do have other options for our partners that need a little bit of flexibility on the different solutions that they're providing to their end users.
Okay, with that, there's a lot of questions that have come in. This is Ted, and I'm just going to be moderating the Q&A here. So the first questions just come around the topic of support. Eric and Matthew want a little more detail. How will this acquisition affect technical support in terms of staffing levels, and where will support be based, and who will be staffing it?
Good question. So, yeah, eFolder is more than doubled the support engineers available. The support teams are now working support queues of both the eFolder Replibit ticket queuing system as well as the Replibit ticket queuing system. The phone extension for Replibit support will soon, if not already, be redirected to the eFolder support queue. And both teams are jointly working the Replibit help desk instance until all of those tickets are resolved, and then all new tickets will flow in through the eFolder help desk. So the teams are already integrated and working together on both help desks, and we now have more than double the capacity, and with these new hires that we've just made, more than triple the capacity that Replibit partners have received so far. And so, yeah, we've heard that sometimes support has been difficult to get on the phone, especially, and so we believe with these investments that that concern will be going away.
I'd like to add to that. What's really exciting about this is how easily the integration is going. We've had the good fortune of working with eFolder for over a year, and on the back end, there's been a lot of collaboration between our support teams and engineering teams to resolve customer issues. So it was a very quick and easy integration between the team members.
Yeah. So the Replibit support team, they're really very exceptional, and we're excited to have them as part of the team. And so now they're working directly together as one team, whereas before, they were just collaborating heavily. And so, like Andy says, it's a very straightforward joining of these two teams to work together.
Right. And so, Kevin, just to follow up, Matthew wants to know, is the support U.S.-based? So maybe talk about how we do support at eFolder.
Yeah. So eFolder strongly believes in providing support staffed by experienced engineers, oftentimes who've worked at an MSP for 10+ years. And so out of our 30+ support engineers, 3 of them are, what would be called, the frontline engineers who understand product knowledge and do product training. And the other engineers are level 2 or level 3 engineers and above, where, they would be the types of folks that an MSP would want to hire to be technicians, as senior technicians of their business. And so our business model in general is to provide, exceptionally high quality level of technical support from team members who can have empathy and understand what the MSP is going through. Our team is primarily U.S. based. eFolder does operate in EMEA, primarily in the UK and the Nordics and other regions. And so we do staff locally so that we can cover customers in their local time zones. And so it's all native English speaking employees. Replibit has 2 team members that are international. Those team members will continue with eFolder, and they've just provided exceptionally high quality support. So there's no disruption. The entire support team is joining us, but in general our philosophy is staffing support by senior engineers who are the types who understand who MSPs are and that your engineers can relate to when they call us.
Yeah, so just on the topic of support, there's a shout out here from Craig, and he says, since you were discussing support, I just wanted to point out what a wonderful job the current support team has done with Replibit. So Craig, thanks a lot for the validation there. And then just a couple logistical items. A couple folks maybe joined late, and the question was, is there going to be a recording? There is a recording. Today's session is being recorded, and it'll be emailed to you as a WMV file via download, and it will be posted to the eFolder YouTube channel. We'll also be sending around copies of the slides. Rick wanted to know, what was that registration link for the special announcement on June 13th? And that is go.efolder.net/big-news. Okay, so Kevin and Andy, there are lots of questions around partners that are currently vaulting to themselves. Is that going to continue to be an option?
Absolutely. Yeah. Anchor, our file sync and share offering, has the private cloud option. And so, we've only continued to invest that since the acquisition there 2 years ago, and we think it's a highly compelling business model for many partners. And so it's an exciting aspect of the Replibit solution that partners have that flexibility and that option to vault to themselves. And so we will continue to treat Replibit partners who vault to themselves, treat that as a first-class business requirement of the Replibit solution. And so, that was a key part of why the acquisition was attractive, and we will continue to invest heavily in that direction. So, we'll be able to have the eFolder Cloud solution become even more tightly integrated with the Replibit software IP over time to make it turnkey for those MSPs who don't want to operate their infrastructure. But, again, we're very happy for MSPs who do want to operate their own infrastructure to use our software to do that. And we're only going to continue to invest even more in that direction.
So kind of a follow-on related question from William. Will eFolder vaulting Replibit, when vaulting Replibit to eFolder, how does virtualization work in the eFolder Cloud in a disaster scenario?
So virtualization in eFolder Cloud uses the eFolder Continuity Cloud, which is a separate compute cloud that's driven by either Hyper-V or VMware. And so partners can use Replibit in a variety of ways, either through VHD or VMDK exports or through iSCSI live booting of the backup snapshots that exist in the eFolder Replibit cloud. And so in our cloud, you cannot currently use the eFolder Replibit boot functionality. You need to go through the live iSCSI boot or the virtual export instead. Over time, that may evolve. However, today, with live iSCSI booting, you can still get rapid recovery in the Continuity Cloud with eFolder, and we expect that integration to become tighter over time now that the two companies have become one.
With that being said, we fully plan on expanding for our partner base who enjoy the ability to vault to themselves. We are fully planning on expanding functionality within the vaulting systems and integrations into other types of systems on the back end. So we are absolutely committed to the philosophy of having the ability to vault to yourself.
So for example, today with live iSCSI booting, it doesn't automatically create in the hypervisor the VM definition itself, but we can easily use the hypervisor APIs to not just create the iSCSI live boot volume, but create the VM definition that automatically hooks into that live boot volume to make it easier, whether you're private cloud or eFolder, using eFolder Continuity Cloud to virtualize in a DR environment with the virtual networking and layer 2 bridging and other things that can be offered.
Yeah, so this is probably one for Andy, and it's kind of related to the whole concept of, using the eFolder cloud or vaulting to yourself, but Nathan wants to know, can you comment cost-wise on kind of the trade-offs of, doing it yourself versus vaulting to eFolder?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and it really boils down to a business decision and where you are as an organization and what fits your business model. If you are going to be using eFolder for warehousing your data, there's a slight premium associated with that because you're paying for a lot of services, a lot of top grade infrastructure and redundancy within the systems that provide all these services for you. Many of our other partners are of the belief that they would prefer to do it themselves, and traditionally a cost per gigabyte is less expensive to you if you're providing those services. Now, at the end of the day, you are also responsible for running that vault 24/7 and warehousing the customer data. So it really depends on what fits in your business model. There's definitely a cost savings associated if you're doing it to yourself, but it really boils down to what your business model warrants.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, eFolder's cloud offering, we're not a infrastructure as a service operator, and so we're not selling raw compute, storage, and bandwidth. Instead, we offer a turnkey solution that prices the cloud on a price per protected server endpoint basis with essentially unlimited cloud storage, the 2 terabytes of cloud storage per endpoint. And so the eFolder offering, the cloud, is more about one simple flat price that's predictable, that completely outsources all the complexity of the cloud. Whereas if you're already operating at scale with infrastructure and you have a services team that is operating that infrastructure, you can use that multi-tenant infrastructure cost effectively to run your own Replibit cloud at scale. And so we're happy either way. And we win either way, whether you're using just the software or the combination of the software plus the cloud.
So kind of a technical question from David that's related to vaulting to yourself. For private cloud, he asks, could we use NAS devices such as QNAP or NAS as a target for remote data?
In theory, you can. We don't necessarily recommend it. You have to, when you're considering vaulting to yourself, you have to understand that the vault or the destination object for all the inbound data is under a tremendous load. I'll pick some round numbers here as an example. Let's assume you have 30 BDR appliances in the field, all with a RAID 5 set or 3 hard drives. Your data change load is now spread not only across the processor and RAM, but in theory, 90 separate hard drives in the field. When you replicate that back to yourself, all that's being funneled back into 1 or 2 vaults. So the I/O change rate on those devices is very, very high compared to a BDR unit in the field. So yes, we fully support iSCSI connections to those devices. Generally speaking, the lower end units don't really have the horsepower to handle the I/O data change rate or the processing power of what's required on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, a key point about Replibit is it's not passive with the data. It's verifying every single backup snapshot, doing the NTFS integrity checking, in addition to the boot automation, bootability checks and other active checks on the data. And so it's not just a passive archival repository, but it's an active repository ensuring that the data is good and ready to go and usable. And so, like Andy's saying, it's a different class of storage that's required when you're thinking about a large multi-tenant, 10+ terabyte backend for a large number of BDR appliances that are in the field.
Yeah, the real key on that is Lots and lots of spindles. The more hard drives, the better. You don't want these super high dense disks. And if you are going to use iSCSI, we highly recommend using 10G iSCSI for the connection to the storage. You could have 35 hard drives under the hood, but if you have a single 1 gig iSCSI connection, that's your bottleneck on your commit to disk rate. So most of our partners generally build their vaults using 2U servers with a minimum of 12 hard drives in them, and then when they're at capacity on that device, they would then, under the software to build our vaults is absolutely free, so when you're reaching capacity on that device, you just get a new piece of hardware, you install the Replibit software, and point your next set of protected systems or servers out in the field to your second vault and grow it as needed.
So that being said, going back to our big news announcement, we envision making it easier for partners to vault to themselves, and so look for more information about that direction on June 13th.
So Andre wants to know, do you plan to offer your own pre-built appliance?
Yes, sign up for June 13th.
Okay. So Andy, just a little bit more. Doug wants to know about, can you just elaborate a little bit on and define chain-free backups in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, sure. So traditional image-based backup builds chains, and they do the under a methodology called incremental forever, and it doesn't matter whether you call it forward incremental, reverse incremental, it's still a chain where each independent point in time of the backup has a dependency on the file either before it or after it, and in order to mount the data, you have to be able to read up these chains of files to resurrect or reconstitute any particular point in time in order to extract the data. In our world, we don't do that. When you drop the Replibit backup agent on a Windows system, when you take that initial backup, instead of creating an individual file in a proprietary format, we're actually doing an on-the-fly P2V or P2V or V2V conversion of that system, writing it directly to the Replibit appliance in a virtual hard drive format that is instantly bootable and accessible. There is no stream out into a secondary VMDK, VHD, or VDI file. All your recoveries come out of that virtual hard drive that is created on the initial backup. Now, when the next incremental point in time fires off, we literally do a block level injection into that virtual hard drive and make it a nearline mirror of the production system. And we just continue to do that every single time an incremental point in time fires off. The way we allow you to roll back in time is just prior to the moment of data injection. We literally take a sand snapshot of that virtual hard drive and create a sector map set aside of what it looked like just prior to the moment of data injection. So if you are going to recover an individual file or do a full-blown virtualization, all you need, whether it's 1 hour ago or 2 years ago, you only need 2 files. The up-to-date virtual hard drive and the sector map of what it looked like 1 hour ago or 2 years ago, and we simply layer it in front of that virtual hard drive, and it's like looking through a pair of glasses, and it instantly looks like it did for whatever recovery point you had selected. So there's zero dependency between any of these points in time. You can delete any point in time that you want. It will not break the recoverability of data before it or after it.
So that's one of the key implications of a chain-free backup, is that any recovery point in the Replibit system, in the interface, you can go to and say, I want to delete that one, and it will actually let you delete that without having to touch the data in any way of any of the other recovery points that exist. And so Replibit has automated historical retention tiers, and so you can say, hey, I want to keep all snapshots for N days, I want to keep the last snapshot of the day for N days, the last snapshot of the week for Y weeks, the last snapshot of the month for Y months, and then the last snapshot of the year for X number of years. And it's a very efficient mechanism to enforce that retention policy because of the independent nature of each of these snapshots, while retaining the data efficiency of only storing the changes, the change blocks in between these independent points in time. The other implication goes back to the way that the snapshots actually happen on the source computers, where rather than a device driver tracking which changes on the block devices are happening at the point in time of the snapshots, it takes those 2 independent snapshots in time and does a very efficient difference to determine, what has changed in between these 2 points in time. And so, for example, a common problem in BDR is that some user dumps their video collection or their MP3 collection onto a data drive, and then the BDR backs it up. And now all of a sudden you've got, call it a terabyte of stuff that you didn't actually want in there. With Replibit, you can actually go in, delete those snapshots that contain the backup of those MP3 files or video files. The next snapshot will be able to take a difference between the last snapshot you didn't delete, and the new point in time of the file system, so it can continue. It was as if that data was never dropped onto that data volume, and that that's a very unique aspect of the way that it is able to understand differences between points in time and how it relates to the chain-free backups.
All right. Well, we're on a roll with some technical stuff, so I'll try to tackle a couple more of those. So, Bill wants to know: do you need to have an on-site appliance, or can you just back up to the cloud?
It's highly recommended. The answer is it depends on the business model you're trying to achieve here. It's highly recommended. I mean, the primary purpose of having this device on site is for the nearline business continuity aspect of it. We all know 99% of all failures out there are single server failures on the end user's LAN. By having the device on site, you can easily mitigate that as an issue, spin it up as a VM on LAN, and have your customer up very quickly. If you choose not to do that and you put an appliance in the sky, the backup agent itself creates an encrypted tunnel and can send the data off-site. However, you do lose a little bit of functionality. The first is there's no bandwidth throttling. The appliance itself has a bandwidth, a replication scheduler and bandwidth throttler, and you can specify the speed at which you want data to go off-site. If you have it going from the agent directly to a unit or an appliance in the sky, you're going to have to do that at the firewall level, and you can't do it at the device level. And then the second main issue is the multi-tenancy. Vaults are designed for absolute segregation and separate logins for access to the individual data for each particular customer. An appliance does not have that capability. So if you're going to be doing that, you can never have end-user access onto appliance device. So we don't necessarily recommend it, although we do know some partners are doing it.
So, again, we don't dictate your business model, and so if you've got your customers that have MPLS, connectivity, with dark fiber between sites or good bandwidth in some other way, if you vault to yourself or the customer vaults to themselves even, that's fine. You've got that option. The eFolder cloud is simple, and so the eFolder cloud itself only accepts replication workloads and not backup workloads. But again, if you vault to yourself, you can build whatever you want, and based on the constraints Andy describes, it is possible to back up to the sky, directly.
So a couple roadmap questions. Can you guys comment on HIPAA compliance support, number one, and then the support for Linux and Unix environments?
Yeah, so HIPAA compliance, Joshua Foltz, our Chief Information Security Officer, has been working with Replibit, and the product is nearly there, all the way there. There are certain policies and procedures as we go and integrate the two companies that we need to implement. And so, we fully expect that within the next few months, we will be able to fully certify eFolder Replibit as HIPAA compliant, along with our other BDR brands that are already certified. And so look for updates to our HIPAA compliance white paper. But the technical fundamentals of the solution, are sound, and it's not a difficult step to go from where we are today to full HIPAA compliance. And then in terms of Linux snapshotting support, it's something that we know is important to partners, and is something based on the technology of how the file system differencing works is possible. It's just not something that we have an exact date on yet as to availability. We're going to be gauging demand from our partner base, and so if this is an important feature to you, let us know so that we can gauge the priority of implementing support for Linux and OS X backups.
Okay, let me throw out a really easy one and then something to elaborate upon. So Bob wants to know, is Replibit going to be sold directly to end users? And then can you just comment at a high level, like what are the licensing schemes today? Like how's the pricing model structured today?
Yeah, no plans. eFolder is channel only, so we're not selling to end users, and that's not going to change. Replibit itself has not been selling to end users. They've also been a channel company, so we will continue to have a channel-only model. And
current licensing.
Current licensing model, if you are choosing to vault to yourself, it's a pretty straightforward model. It's a month-to-month pay-as-you-grow zero-commit model for the software to build your appliances, the management portal, and your vault is absolutely free. We don't want to dictate your business model. You can roll out as many units as you want. We just charge by endpoint. So a server agent that backs up and replicates to an offsite vault is $30 a month, and a workstation that backs up and replicates to an offsite vault is $5 a month. If you are choosing not to send it offsite, it's a few bucks less for each of those licenses per month. That's all in, includes support, updates, anything you need. There's no hidden charges. If you have volume licenses, we do offer discounts off of that street pricing of $30. You just have to talk to us about that if you have larger numbers. With regard to the bundled solution that includes the offsite storage, I'm going to hand that over to Kevin.
Sure. So yeah, so eFolder has the identical model, selling the Replibit software on a subscription basis, month to month, with volume discounts based on commitments. And so that will be available immediately through eFolder sales reps. And then in addition, if you want to attach cloud to some or all of the licenses that you're buying on the subscription basis, it's again just a flat price per endpoint charge, which starts at $60 per server per month, including the cloud, 2 terabytes of cloud storage, and the license for Replibit itself for that endpoint. And then volume discounts are again available based on volume and commitment from partners, so that it can become very attractive, even if you're operating at large scale. And we're continuing to listen to partners, and we have some exciting additional flexible options coming soon that we think partners will find very attractive, in addition to our current flexible endpoint-based pricing models.
So Kevin, and if there's partners, I've made kind of an executive decision here just to keep going with the Q&A and not do the product highlights, because I think we can tackle that in a future webinar, and I think there's great opportunities to get kind of one-on-one briefing on a lot of that stuff with one of our product specialists. But Kevin, if a partner's not doing business, if you're an eFolder partner and you're not doing business with Replibit on the Replibit product line today, or if you're an MSP and you're not doing business with eFolder at all, how do you get started?
So our account managers for any existing eFolder partner are very happy to help you learn more about the Replibit offerings, the different deployment models, the different licensing options. And so they're fully trained and prepared and ready to chat with you about those solutions and set up a demo for you. Likewise, if you're interested and you're not yet an eFolder partner, just go to our website, fill out the interest form, and one of our sales reps will contact you shortly to set up a demo, and so you can see for yourself, whether it's the right fit for you.
Okay. Let's see. There's several questions. Just Kevin, can you kind of elaborate again on what the future relationship is with StorageCraft and eFolder's BDR for Shadow Protect product?
Yes, absolutely. So we recently announced a renewed contract and relationship with StorageCraft, which we're very excited about. We've also announced the greatly enhanced BDR for Shadow Protect cloud offering. So eFolder has put a tremendous amount of development effort into launching, building and launching this newly enhanced cloud offering for BDR for Shadow Protect. So StorageCraft has recently released many enhancements, including Image Manager 7, which has Head Start Restore included for free, which has bootability checks as part of Image Manager 7, and so eFolder is able to not only leverage the newer Shadow Protect components under our agreement, but also run some of these components in our newly enhanced clouds, such as Image Manager, directly, providing MSPs a very bandwidth efficient mechanism for replicating Shadow Protect data to the eFolder cloud, while taking advantage of Head Start Restore and Virtual Boot for Hyper-V and all the other innovations that StorageCraft is coming out with. So, we're adding granular monitoring for each endpoint that's protected by Shadow Protect. Previously we've just had BDR level monitoring. Now you'll be able to see the health and status of each individual endpoint that's backed up both locally and in the cloud. And so, we're just very excited. StorageCraft, the pace of innovation is picked up under their new ownership with TA, and we're excited to work with StorageCraft to deliver innovation together, for those partners who love Shadow Protect, and there are many. So, yeah, it's a very important direction for us, not only StorageCraft, but our other partnerships, including Veeam, Acronis, and Dell. So you should continue to expect to see innovations, enhancements come out for our entire BDR ecosystem and platform. We have two separate development teams, one for Replibit and one for our BDR ecosystem platform. And both teams are expanding. They have complete sets of QA and product management. And so there's just tremendous commitment and investment happening to make every flavor of BDR highly compelling for partners so that they can choose which solution is best for their clients. We're happy to help them any flavor that they prefer.
Okay, we've got a couple more minutes. We're going to be ending at the top of the hour for those of you kind of checking in on your schedule. We got plenty of questions to go here, but just a question, will Andrew still be in charge of Replibit product development?
Is that a good or a bad question?
Yeah, yeah, so Andy's, the visionary. Andy has incredible MSP background, and he's been in and around the business continuity use case for so many years, and so Andy is going to take a very important role shaping the Replibit, product vision and future. We're integrating the Replibit R&D team and process with the way that eFolder does development at scale, including additional product management and additional structure for development and QA. And so, these teams are rapidly expanding and will naturally become a little bit more structured. But Andy remains in a key role innovating with Replibit, and then, even more broadly, just across the eFolder portfolio of solutions as well. Andy has a lot to offer, understanding the MSP perspective, combined with his technical know-how and genius to continue to innovate with the rest of us at eFolder to deliver exciting things for MSPs. Okay. I guess, so Bob wants to know, are we going to publish a roadmap for Replibit?
Yeah, so eFolder has a quarterly public roadmap that we publish. And so, we're getting a product management team built around the Replibit product offering, and once that team is fully built, part of their responsibility is grooming the roadmap, both the public roadmap and the internal roadmap. And so that will be coming out, maybe in the next quarter, certainly by the end of the year. And so, expect to see additional resources and visibility into the roadmap, prioritization, and development progress and efforts with this product line.
But something's coming quickly. What's happening on June 13th?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you'll have to find out. We think it's game-changing. It's something very new and different. It's not more of the same. And so if you're curious, all I can say is, I'll see you June 13th.
Yeah, if you would like to register right now for that webinar announcement, it's go.efolder.net/big-news. John asks, any Datto competitive program coming?
We currently don't have anything immediate to announce, but perhaps you should come to the June 13th webinar to understand what we envision for helping MSPs take a second look at the BDR market.
So a couple questions about brandable marketing materials and whether we're going to be releasing a playbook. I guess rather than looking at my boss to ask me to do it, I'll just offer yes. I mean, I think eFolder as a team, we've been quite happy and excited to provide eFolder partner playbooks over the past couple of years, and I think we've gotten pretty good partner reception of that. And a partner playbook is an end-to-end kind of campaign framework with all the tools a partner needs. So we will probably within about 45 days release our first one that will be kind of purpose-built for the Replibit product line. The good news is the Replibit team already has a lot of great partner enablement tools, but I think dropping them into the kind of the eFolder approach and our playbook format will be, I think, really well received by partners. So keep an eye out for that, probably about 45 days out. Just looking for kind of new material here. I guess that there's a lot of questions around just kind of volume pricing and how that works and how to engage in that conversation.
Yeah, so we have a consultative sales process, what we call a mutual success plan with partners, and so one of our sales consultants, you can arrange a conversation, and essentially we go through and understand your partnership, your business, what your goals are, what volumes you're looking at, and we have a volume rate schedule that requires essentially a minimum commitment to say over the next 3 months, here's what I'm willing to commit to, and in return, this will be my discounted rate per endpoint, whether it's the cloud or the local licensing, and those discounts can become aggressive as the volume increases, and so it's certainly to your benefit. We explore that together, and then that comes into this mutual success plan where we not only document the volume pricing, but your plan to roll that out over 3 months, and what we need to do to support you being successful in that rollout. We have an onboarding team that works with new partners for the first couple of months based on that mutual success plan to help partners, small or large, be successful in rolling out their solution, whether it's the minimum commitment overall with 3 servers, or you're deploying 100 servers rapidly. We've got a plan in place together to tackle it with our team.
Yeah, so there's several questions just around kind of eFolder's relationship with StorageCraft, and I just would encourage everyone to visit eFolder.net/blog and just scroll up a bit, or just Google eFolder and StorageCraft to get a copy of the press release that we announced over a month ago around our renewed relationship with StorageCraft. So no matter what you may have heard through the grapevine or on the street, so to speak, we renewed that contract several months ago and publicly announced it about 45 days ago, and all the details are available on the eFolder website, in the press area, and the like. And with that, I want us to end on time. We like to start on time and end on time. So with that, let me just turn it over to Andy and Kevin for a final couple comments.
Great. Yeah, I mean, just to reemphasize, StorageCraft is an incredible company. Shadow Protect is an exceptional product. We renewed a long-term relationship with them, and so we're excited to partner with them and work with them. Likewise, we're excited for Andy to join the eFolder family directly, and just the innovation that we can offer together under one roof.
And from the Replibit side of the house, we're really excited to be part of eFolder. We're really looking forward to expanding our R&D and support capabilities with our joint efforts. I plan on sticking around for years and years to come, and we're just really, really excited to be part of the team now.
Okay, with that, I want to thank everybody for giving us an hour of your time today. Hopefully this was informative for you. This was a special partner briefing on eFolder's acquisition of Replibit. This is Ted Holsey, Vice President of Marketing eFolder, signing off. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care now.